Good morning, guys. Today we are talking about William Shakespeare. Why do we study Shakespeare? Well, first of all, because his plays are the greatest literary texts of all times, and they express a profound knowledge of the human behavior. And they also transmit universal values, that is, values that are applicable to all people at all times, that are very modern, such as despise the love, that you that are very young know very well. You often suffer for love. The passing of time, that is, the corruption of the human body when one gets old. Death, ambition, revenge, the law's delays, that is, how many times you don't see the punishment for one's crimes. You see the delays in the application of the law. And he is also the most quoted, the most translated of any author on earth. But now let's talk about his life. He was born in Stratford-upon-Avon on the 23rd of April 1564, on St. George's Day. St. George is the patron saint of England. He attended the local grammar school from the age of 7 to 13. The grammar school was a sort of modern liceo classico, that is, they studied classical subjects such as Latin and Greek. But he didn't go to university, and that has created it, but that is at the basis of so many hypotheses about his genius, because it is believed that a person who hasn't attended university, a person who hasn't gone deeper into the classical studies, can't become such a genius. And about that we will watch a movie that is Anonymous, that talks about some curious and interesting hypotheses about Shakespeare's genius, about the hypothesis that it wasn't Shakespeare but someone else who wrote his works. And he didn't go to the university because he had to marry when he was 18. He married Anne Hathaway, that was pregnant, and they had 3 children. But in 1592 he went to London, so he left his own country because he had been caught deer hunting. That is, fu sorpreso a cacciare cervi. That was strangely enough, was a very serious crime in that period. And he was an actor. He became an actor, a playwright, and a shareholder. The shareholder is in Italian azionista. That is, the actors had to pay to become shareholders to support the theaters, because they were very ostracized in that period, because, as you know, were considered means of corruption and of, especially by the Puritans, and of spreading of diseases. And he was anyway supported also by a private patron, that was the Earl of Southampton. So he became a shareholder and the main playwright of the most successful company of actors in London, the Lord Chamberlain's Men. And his company built the so famous Globe Theatre. You have seen a copy at Villa Borghese recently. And it was built on the south bank of the river Thames. And he was recognized as a genius in his own time, but is still considered a genius. In 1610, he retired from the theatre, even though he continued to write some comedies, such as The Tempest. He wrote The Tempest in this period. And in 1613, the Globe Theatre burned down, but it was quite likely that such things happened because all the buildings in that period, and so also the theaters, were made of wood. So they burnt down quite easily, and so the Globe Theatre was rebuilt more than once. He died in 1616 near his birthday, the date of his birthday, when he was 52, and he was buried in Stratford in the Holy Trinity Church. Here is a quite complete list of his comedies. I suggest you to learn at least the titles highlighted in red. That is The Taming of the Shrew, that is La Bisbetica Domata, that you have certainly heard in Italian. This title you have certainly heard in Italian. A Midsummer Night's Dream, Sogno di una notte di mezz'estate, The Merchant of Venice, that you have just seen at the theater. Much Ado About Nothing, Tanta confusione per nulla, All's Well That Ends Well, Tutto è bene quello che finisce bene, and The Tempest, that was published in 1611. Shakespeare's comedies include The Disguise, and you have seen that, for example, in the comedy The Merchant of Venice, for example, in The Disguise of Portia, when she disguises as a lawyer, and another theme that you have seen is Mistaken Identity, that is very connected with disguise. Because, for example, Bassanio doesn't recognize Portia, that is disguised as a lawyer. And there is the theme of the marital and romantic misunderstandings. For example, in the comedy The Merchant of Venice, in the episode of The Ring that Bassanio has given the lawyer, yes, but the lawyer was Portia herself. And these comedies end in multiple marriages, and again you have seen that in The Merchant of Venice when Portia marries Bassanio in the end of the comedy, and Nerissa marries Graziano, and also Jessica marries Lorenzo. Also another interesting point is that these comedies trace the passage of young people out of their parents' control and into marriage. And again, you can see that in The Merchant of Venice, in Jessica, that leaves her father's house to meet her love, Lorenzo. And also Portia, that even after her father's death continues to respect his will, and instead of choosing freely or feeling free to choose her love, subdues her suitors to the casket riddle, as her father wished. And here is a list of his tragedies. The most famous ones are the ones highlighted in red, and I suggest you to learn them. They are Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, and Macbeth. Okay, that's all for the lesson of today. Bye!